Well, it's July, and it's not too soon to be thinking about hunting season. Or, well, I guess if you're going to do a food plot, it might be a little late to start thinking about that. So this video today is about a little tool that I developed that you can actually make at home to help in the removal of the rectum of the deer. It's a task that we all have done, and sometimes having a little aid is helpful. I know there's a device out there that does it. I think the one that I've developed actually takes out the rectum and part of the colon much cleaner with no problem with spilling anything inside the guts of the deer. My videographer today is my brother Daryl, because my other brother Daryl wasn't available.
Okay, so for gutting a deer and taking out the rear end, there was a device developed a few years back. It's kind of a corkscrew device. I know everybody's seen one of those. They work pretty well. The one thing that I guess that always bothered me a little bit, and it's because of my surgical background, is that really potentially you're leaving a cut end of intestine inside the deer, which can spill stuff. And spilling beans in the deer is what can cause the meat to taint. So I came up with an idea that I think is just as effective and really cheap because you can do it yourself. So I'll show you how to use it in a second, but this is very simple. This is just a wooden bead, and I bought a bag of umpteen thousands of them on YouTube for pennies, and drilled a 1/4-inch hole, put a 1/4-inch dowel inside of it, drop of Gorilla Glue, and then drill a hole in the handle. You could use scrap wood. It doesn't have to be round, the handle. You could use a little square piece, so whatever you got laying around. I did flatten one side of the bead, and you'll see why in a second. I'm not sure that's absolutely necessary, but I did it anyway. I will tell you that you want to hold on to the bead quite tightly with a channel lock when you push it up against a sander, because it'll want to shoot across the room, but that's a whole nother story. So if you put your Mr. Rogers sweater on and make believe with me, so this is a deer. And here's the rectum, and here's the intestine, and oh my gosh, it's got beans in it, so which is exactly what happens to us. So the way you would do it is just insert this in, push it forward, and you can palpate that in the deer pretty easily. It's long enough to do that. You want to kind of work the beans out of the way, which is what I do when I'm gutting the deer anyway. Take a small wire tie, and tighten it up. Then you can take one or two and tighten it up right here. Now my preferred method is to use 3. So I've got one before and after the little ball, and then third one right here. And then either with a knife or whatever you want to use, you can cut it. That's now not going to leak, and you can take that away with the rest of the guts. This will invert. Obviously, you'll get some beans that are going to spill out. Okay? And then you can either cut and take the rectal muscle out, or you can just cut this, and you're done. And if you deep fry this, it's pretty good. No, it's not very good. Okay, so one of the reasons that I like this is, if you think about it, this is completely biodegradable. Now, the wire ties are not biodegradable, so my preferred method is to use hemp twine, which is completely biodegradable. So if you're of the guys have found that, they just thought it was easier. My hunting buddies, when I took this up to hunting camp, that it was easier to do with the wire ties, but you could easily do the same thing with some hemp twine, and then that would be absolutely totally biodegradable. So just to go over the specs on this, these are 12-inch dowels, 1/4 inch. This is a 1-inch wooden bead that you can buy easily, like I said, on Amazon, a bag for pennies. And again, any little handle you want to fashion, either out of a square piece of stock or the round will work. Now, what I did with my hunting buddies, we quickly figured out So what I did was I wire tied 3 wire ties to this unit, and it easily fits in a backpack. Now it's not uh, super sturdy, but we didn't have any breakage with them taking them out into the woods or using them, and they functioned quite well. Um, I would say that, build one. It's you know free to do. However, I would ask you not to sell these because I think that's being unfair to me. And by the way, if Hunter Specialties or anybody else is interested in talking to me, I'd be happy to do that. And so, just another thought and a way of doing things. For what it's worth, that's what I do.
Did I tell you what happened the actual first time that I used this?
No. Tell me what happened.
Well, I was pretty excited. I took a doe for that we would have for camp meat during rifle season, and so I harvested deer, yelled for my buddy to come, and so he was going to watch me do it, and we were going to see how it worked. And I gutted the deer, then I inserted this in the rectum, and I was feeling around and I couldn't feel it, and I uttered out loud. I thought, "Oh my God, I didn't make it long enough," which I was sure I had. And at that time, I heard a little voice behind me go, "Well, if you put it in the right hole, it might work better." 50 years in healthcare, and I couldn't figure out which was the right place to put it.
So you're doing a pap smear.
Yeah. So I've been trying to kick around names of what to call this device. Bung Doodle was one of them. Bung Out was another one. If you have a great idea, please leave it in the comments, but keep it PG, please. If you like this video, great. If you didn't like the video, sorry. If you think whatever, well, thanks for stopping by anyway and giving it a watch. Hope you have a great hunting season.